us the gorgeous Lara Datta, who, after a long hiatus, has finally decided that she really, really needs to entertain us with something really interesting. Hi, Lara, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Ankitam. Thank you for having me.
I'm glad. Like, I just finished 100 last night, and what were you waiting for? Now I can totally understand when you said it in a couple of previous interviews. You were looking for something to excite you, and now I can totally get it. The character was so you. I mean, I have never imagined seeing you something like the stuff ACP. How did it strike the chord? How did you pick this up?
Well, I haven't really actually, it wasn't like I was looking actively for something to do on the digital, space. It wasn't like I was had, sort of had gone out there and was looking for content. 100 actually happened pretty organically for me. I had Ruchi Narayan, who I've known for many, many years, literally call out of the blue and say, Lara, we're doing this show. We want you to consider one of the characters, and can we come over and narrate an episode or two to you? So she didn't tell me anything more about the show, just other than that. And they came over, they narrated 2 episodes to me. And, I loved within the first 2 episodes itself. It's very clear if you've watched the show, the first episode itself, you know exactly what ACP Soumya Shukla is all about. Just as a character, she's many ththings. She's flawed, she's badass, she's ambitious, she's complex. She's got complex relationships, relationship issues within all the relationships that exist in her life. And I like the fact that, very rarely do you come across female characters on screen that are layered, that are written well, that are not one dimensional, that are not always the perfect woman.
Exactly.
And I think as an actor, especially now in my 40s, you've seen enough of life to realize what women are really about, and play real women on screen. So for me, the opportunity to, kind of play a character like this, secondary to the fact was it that, of course, she was a police officer, never done that on screen before. And the fact that they were considering Rinku Rajguru for the character of Netra Patil, for me itself, I was like, wow, I don't know how that's going to translate on screen, So it was almost like a very intriguing, I want to see what's going to happen when you put 2 actors like this together. And of course, I think it works.
But there's something which really attracted me about your character was this entire arc of how you deal with sexism, like when it comes to women. And no matter whatever profession they are in, that is one evil or maybe one side you
Yes.
just cannot ignore. Was that also one of the key points? Because that has also come out very nicely. It is
Yeah.
conveying the message which you are, if I
No, of
think, was
course.
trying to.
For sure. For a character to portray a character like this on screen, I think it's fantastic that the character actually says something, that it actually stands for something. And therefore, for me, all of us as women have faced sexism in some form or the other, regardless of the sort of field that we belong to or the industry that we belong to. Every single woman who's a working woman has faced it at some point of time or the other. So here you have a woman who's in in a police force, which across the country, the police force is predominantly male. And it's different in the Indian film industry because you don't have to live with it day in and day out. It's not, where it's part and parcel of, being in your face. That's the environment that you have to function in every single day. And I love the fact that there was a balance that had to be struck in Soumya's character, where she is actually a really good police officer. She believes in that uniform. She believes in what she signed up for, which is why you'll never see her be insubordinate to Parmeet Sethi's character, who's her DCP, who's constantly on her case. She will never tell him. You can literally see in scenes where Soumya is biting her tongue, and you can see what she wants to say in going on in her head. But she respects the rank of uniform that's standing in front of her, so she will never sort of say that to him to his face. Of course, she complicates her life enough where she tries to get things done her own way by circumventing the system.
Yeah, not really much.
Exactly. But I think, that it was very important to get those nuances within the character, and play those out. And especially towards the end, you see a change. She goes from saying, okay, I've tried it my way, I need to learn to play the game. So let me give it to you your way. I'm going to play the game.
So, Lara, your relationship with uniform, I would say, is not something new. You come from a family of officials. Like, what was it like? Maybe what was the family reaction finally donning the uniform and this in a full-fledged long length series? What was it like?
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, I've grown up, it's part and parcel of my life. It's just very much, who we are, to see both my father and my sister in uniform
Yeah.
pretty much all my life. And of course, I remember putting on my dad's uniform and strutting around the house, but it used to be like literally like a child wearing, the father's clothes. But it's, I always say that even for me, just getting into uniform on set every day, something kind of clicks inside you when you're in that uniform. Some switch kind of goes off. That sense of patriotism, that sense of service, that sense of responsibility. It's something. I don't know what happens. It's like the cells in your body get activated. That
I
happens.
agree because every actor says the moment you don a uniform, you somehow feel responsible. You
Of
feel that you
course.
owe it to it. You
You
owe to
do.
that
I'm
particular.
telling you, this has to be something that's very primal, that's kind of, wired into our cellular system in our bodies, I'm sure. Because it's just literally, there are days, I mean, on set as well, where I'm in civilian clothes, as play clothes police officer, which you'll see a lot through the show. And of course, the body language and everything stays the same. But the days that you have the uniform on, just something, you automatically, I didn't have to work, at hard at all to bring in the nuances. They just fell into place. It's great.
Nice. Lara, you have not shied away from taking risks even at a time when I would say many actresses were not. You ended up into production like pretty soon. Like you didn't wait much, like for a longer period of time, maybe. And now it's almost what more than 2 decades you have been in the entertainment industry. If we take from the Glad Drag days till now, it's a
Yeah.
beauty pageant win. It's production. You're handling a career post marriage. What was the best suited role you think as an actor, as a producer? What is the best phase you have been enjoying, or what
The
we would say
best
the
phase
best
is by
calling
far
roles?
is motherhood. That's my regular day job. That's my first career at this point of time,
Uh,
and also the most fulfilling. So yeah, I enjoy that. But I've also been, I've just always been somebody who's kind of never felt limited. That, oh, okay, I'm not going to rock the boat. This seems to be a good phase. This is going well for me now, so I shouldn't try anything else. I've always felt that, I'm constantly looking and saying, okay, what next? So I love the fact that I have had the opportunity of having a fairly successful career as a model, being somebody who won a title like Miss Universe, being an actor, being a producer, being an entrepreneur. So I just, it's just that I think it's a drive that keeps you going. You constantly, I like surprising myself. So at some point of time, I'm pretty sure that the train hasn't reached the station yet. So
nice. Laravi, when we were talking to Charisma, who also just returned to Mentalhood on the web domain, she said that the characters which are written for the actresses in her age bracket, say the 40s per se, today are far more beautiful, fleshed out, and are treated with much more care and respect. Other than she was like, I couldn't have imagined this kind of scenario maybe a decade back. But now it's such a fulfilling space in web also that you don't have to rush to films to, satisfy your craft and
sure.
art. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I think, with the advent of the digital medium within the country, you have just far superior content that's being created and written, also more diverse content. So as an actor for me, in my early 40s, you want to play age appropriate roles. You don't want to be playing and, killing yourself to portray somebody who's in her 20s and in her 30s. And, you just, uh, after some point of time you become so comfortable in your own skin and you find a kind of a confidence, and I think that's absolutely fabulous to have on screen, to portray characters of women who are very, very real and who are sure of themselves. They're not giddy as being in the first time in love, or just stuff like that, which gets tiresome and tedious to continue portraying. So I think for sure, with the advent of digital media within the country, it's an amazing time to be an actor. It's an incredible opportunity. And even before 100 released, when people knew that I was doing 100, I mean, there were a lot of offers that then followed suit. A lot of things that I said no to. So I just feel that today it really has to be something that adds value to your life. It has to be worth spending. For me, like, this was 3 or 4 months away from my kid, from my home, from my family, and it just has to be worth it. If it's
Exactly.
something that you look back on and say, I don't care, it's something I could have done without in my career, then it's definitely not worth it.
Lara, one thing which I would like to know, when you, Priyanka, you all were in the same year when you won your pageants. Since then till now, I think you were, I would say, probably the last lot of beauty queens who ruled Bollywood after a certain point of time. This is something generic which always I wanted to ask someone and I got an opportunity. What has gone down the hill? At times, these beauty pageants genuinely were taken and seen with pride. And now, when we just reflect them back and we see a last couple of years, when they come and go, nobody realizes there are so many of them. Like, and everyone has such a different and varied opinion. Like, what was so special about your batch? Because till date, it is one of the most popular lot, and your social media banter with all of them is actually pretty cool. There are really, really cute posts out there.
Uh, I don't know. I think there's certain years that you just have the stars align, I think, and then you have certain groups that come out. So for our year, even apart from Priyanka, Dia, and myself, we had some amazing success stories. We had Lakshmi Rana, who still is the ruling model on ramp. She's, the queen of the catwalk. We had Ishita Arun, who went on to have a fantastic career as a VJ, and, Ila Arun's daughter. We had Bhavana Sharma again, who ruled the ramp for many, many years until she got married and had a child. So like that, there were so many girls from that batch. Payal Ruthangi was our batch at Miss India. So people that you still, are on people's radars, people know about them. So obviously that was some batch. I think 2000 was just, India's year where its women were concerned. But you have to also understand, Ankita, there's a lot that has changed. Most of the times in the beginning, when pageants actually sort of came out and the concept of a beauty pageant came out, there was no reality television. There were no, and these were the big sort of live events, televised events that, were very important television properties during that time. So there wasn't that much entertainment to see on TV, and therefore it became one of the events that the entire country sort of tuned into to watch. You follow the careers and the paths of the girls. Today you have so much. You have so many of these really young teenage sort of shows. You have Big Boss, you have
Yeah,
roadies, you have,
too
whatever,
much.
Love Island, I don't know, you have so many things, a lot of things that I don't watch. But so today, and in many ways you can't differentiate one from the other. They all
Exactly.
somewhere down the line also kind of end up looking the same. So today I think the audience also is spoiled for the amount of options that they have for what they can kind of watch. And therefore, unless pageants really reinvent themselves completely and therefore begin to stand for something far more substantial than just good looking women competing against each other.
Exactly.
And you will see that that reinvention is already happening, even on an international level, with companies like IMG that own Miss Universe and things like that. They are, like, if you look at the winners who have won in the recent past, they're
Yeah,
not necessarily only just beautiful looking women. As I can speak from Miss Universe's point of view, they're really outspoken, young women who stand for something that they're very, very sure and clear what they're standing for. So that has kind of evolved over the years as well. And the same from our point of view as well, from within a country, for the candidates that we send. I've been mentoring the girls for the last couple of years, trying to
exactly.
prepare them for the changing face of what now beauty pageants, really stand for. And it's not easy, I have to say, because also with social media, these girls are forced to kind of, already be somebody or something before they even go to
Exactly.
participate.
Yeah.
So nobody's actually given a fair chance. When we won, there was none of this nonsense. You went out, you put your best foot forward. The internationally, the world woke up to who you really were, what your personality was, what you stood for, and therefore you had a fair chance to compete against 100 other candidates that came in. Today here, everybody's already determined how popular you are or you aren't, depending on the
Yeah,
number of followers you
suddenly
have.
social media numbers have become the parameter of how you're going to be perceived.
Exactly. So are you worthy now depends on whether you have X number of followers or Y. Doesn't really depend on what you really are or what your qualities are or what you stand for or anything like this. So it's a far harder and harsher world that these girls are navigating than we did.
And lastly, I won't take much of your time. Lara, this entire lockdown period, I think, has given us a lot of time to sit back, reflect, and make some necessary changes, even if it's small, on our basic levels. What is one takeaway which you think you have taken, and maybe something which would always stay with you? Maybe something very important, imparting to your child also. What is the best positive takeaway? Because there are so many people who are just unfortunately, when I talk to, are a little depressed and too pessimist about the situation. But there's always another way to look at it. And you've always been pretty optimistic about things. So, what is one
Of
takeaway?
course. So for me, to be very honest, Ankita, I have had I just feel that you have to look at things, it's your perspective and the way you see something. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who is around the same age as me, and he said that the only time that we'll ever have a chance to experience what we're experiencing, or the kind of lifestyle that we're living now in our lives, is once we retire. He said, it's only when we retire is when we're going to say, oh, I have to wake up today and I don't have to have a plan and I don't have to do, whatever. I can spend 3 hours reading the newspapers. He said, so we're so fortunate to actually, at the peak of our careers, or in the midst of all our madness, actually be forced to take this time out for what? For a month, 2 months, to live the kind of life that we actually work our asses off, thinking that when I retire, I will do this. When I
Exactly.
retire, I'll finally sit down and put my feet up. So it's like taking a little bit of a mini vacation, to be really honest. And I lost somebody that I knew quite well to COVID-19 quite early on, even before India went into its lockdown. A person who went from being absolutely healthy to no longer being with us in a matter of just 15 to 17 days, and had no underlying health issues, was in perfectly fine, good health. So to be really honest, I know that he would have given anything to have just one day more with his family. So I think for us, every single day that we are waking up and we're healthy and my family's healthy and I'm healthy, it's like the best feeling on the planet to be alive, to be really honest. And so I'm not waiting for the lockdown to end to resume my life or to get on with life. I mean, life is right now. It's
Exactly.
now. So it's just, and it's amazing. So for me, it's like you said, it's perspective. It's the way that you look at things, and it's been a lot of fun. And yes, we are all going to come out of this slightly changed and slightly different. There will be subtle changes that will impact us for life in many different ways. The way that we consume things, the way that we build our relationships going forward with the people that really matter most in our life, the way that we prioritize the things in our lives that are important for us. All of us are going to come out of this with certain sort of, the way that we travel will change forever. So this is going to have far long reaching, sort of things. And I think it will be for the better. I think we will come out of this with slightly more conscious in our approach to living.
But thank you so much, Lara, and all the best for future
Thank you.
projects, because this one has turned out to be so beautiful. And we hope that there
Thank
are
you.
no more breaks, like no longer breaks, fruitful breaks
Thank you.
only for you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so
much for your
much.
time, Lara. Thank you.
Pleasure.